You are probably pretty average, statistically speaking. That's not an insult, it's just math. Take a look at this normal distribution curve. Average is right here in the middle, with about 68% of the population falling between these two lines. So odds are you're somewhere in this range. But what does it even mean to be average? When we think of ourselves and where we stand in life, it's hard not to start measuring our own worth against others. People use all kinds of metrics to figure out if they're doing okay or if they're falling behind. Some people look at mental health. How happy are you on a day to day basis? How kind or empathetic are you? Others might focus on physical health and appearance, your weight or height, your fitness level, how much you can lift or how fast you can run. Do you have a six pack abs or toned muscles? And then there's the material aspect. What kind of car do you drive? How much money do you make? Do you own a house? Or have you traveled a lot? All these factors can shape how we see ourselves and our value. With the internet, it's easy to get bombarded with these metrics. Social media constantly tells us what we should and what we shouldn't have, who we should be, and how we should look. It's like there's a constant scoreboard, and we're all trying to keep up. This can lead to a mindset that I think is more harmful than helpful. Seeing others achieve things that seem out of reach, I myself start to wonder, why do I even try if there's always someone better? What makes me special? How do I stand out in a world full of exceptional people? But here's the thing. I think it's good to have people to look up to and goals to strive for. It's part of human nature to want to improve, to be more than we are. And I mean, comparing yourself can definitely be a healthy way if it motivates you to grow and achieve things that you're passionate about. But there's a fine line. When we constantly judge ourselves based on what others are doing or where they are in life, it's easy to lose sight on our own progress, strengths, and values. Just because you're not there yet doesn't mean that you should feel negatively towards yourself or where you currently are in life. So, how do we handle all this comparison? How do we live in a world where being average feels like failure? Well, here's the thing. Maybe being average isn't the problem. I could spew some motivational stuff at you about how you're unique, a one of a kind combination of experiences, thoughts, and aspirations. And I genuinely thought about saying shit like that. But I don't know how helpful or honest that really is. I do think that it's something we need to hear sometimes. However, I feel like it's kind of a temporary fix to a deeper problem. The reality is, you probably are average, and that's okay. The starting point is acknowledging that you are, and you can be, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to be average either, to be exceptional. But I think what's really important is that you want that for the right reasons. A lot of the motivation behind the things we think we want are biased from other influences in our lives. The internet, our friends, family, colleagues, religion, the list goes on. Take a step back for a second. What are your true values and goals? Not your friends or your coworkers or even your parents for that matter. What do you truly value? What are your goals? For example, let's say you really want a super fast moon buggy, but the reason you want this super fast moon buggy is because your friend Timmy over here has a fast moon buggy and you want to have a faster moon buggy than Timmy. This is bad. Now, let's say you really want a super fast moon buggy, and the reason you want a fast moon buggy is because you like driving moon buggies fast and you genuinely enjoy doing it. This is good. You might be asking, I got a fast moon buggy in both of these scenarios. What's the difference? Well, think about what's going into acquiring this moon buggy. Maybe you would spend a ton of money to get it. Or maybe you had an old buggy that you had to fix up, so you spent a bunch of time doing that. Or maybe you just had to work a lot to get the money to buy this moon buggy. Once you've acquired your new Formula One moon buggy, what's really going to matter is if you enjoyed doing it and enjoyed the process. A large part of the enjoyment you get is going to stem from the motivation behind your desire for this moon buggy. Figuring out what your true values and goals are can be a tough question to answer. It honestly might take a while for you to figure it out, and you might even be wrong the first time you think you know what it is. So next time you want something, ask yourself this: why do I want this? And am I going to enjoy the process of obtaining this? Okay, now that you've accepted that you're average and figured out what you truly value, where do you go from here? Stop giving a fuck. I don't mean stop caring about everything. I mean stop caring about the things that aren't related to what your goals and values are. There are going to be a lot of things that you can't control, and a lot of these things might bother you. And it's okay to be bothered by some things. Not being bothered by anything isn't good either. The real importance is recognizing if the things that bother you are really that big of a deal. Let's go back to the moon buggy example. Say while you're building your buggy, your neighbor Joey says he doesn't like the color of paint you chose. You start to wonder, is this the right paint choice? Should I have picked blue instead of gray? Then you go down a spiral about paint choices, when in reality, who gives a fuck what Joey thinks? You're building this moon buggy for yourself, not Joey. Being bothered and experiencing negative emotions is important, but the key is to avoid feeling negative emotions that are unnecessary. We do this to ourselves more than we think by worrying too much about thoughts, opinions, and the perception of others that shouldn't matter to us as much as we think. When in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. Focus on the things that are related to your goals and values. But don't be afraid to experience and embrace negative emotions that will genuinely help you grow. So what's next? You've accepted that you're average, figured out what you truly value, and stopped giving a fuck. Is that it? Is it that simple? Well, not really. I'm not going to pretend I have it all figured out, because I really don't. But I think that these are incredibly valuable starting points. Seriously, if you're living to impress yourself, you'll be a lot happier than if you're trying to impress others. The key to happiness isn't necessarily being exceptional to others. It's in living a life that feels exceptional to you.